Next on my list is, would it surprise you to know, emotions/feelings. Remember I told you, emotions and feelings are the exact same thing. There is no constructive reason whatsoever to try to, as some intellectuals do, try to distinguish that, well, emotions are this, there's a little slight difference there, and the feelings are this. And it's not constructive to do that. And if it's not constructive, it means it detracts from any constructive use in your life to do that. So don't get pulled into the black hole of intellectual goatee stroking. Emotions and feelings are the same thing, but they're so important because our lives are determined by them, for better or worse. They shouldn't be, but the world around you, that's what's happening. People should not determine their reality based on what they feel, but the world is doing that. When you are trying to escape from an emotional disorder, you've lived a life of doing that yourself. You're trying to escape that. But as you're looking out at the world and observing world conditions and the way people are, the way people make decisions, to understand that, this intellect and critical thinking is not going to explain it. That's not what explains what you see when you look out at the world. What explains it is emotions and feelings. In an Orange Slice a year or so ago, I explained how the cars you see being sold on the lot and the car that you are driving was not a critical thought decision. That was not an intellectual decision. Because if it were only an intellectual decision, all cars would be the same color. Is there any practical reason why cars should be all sorts of different colors? No, there's no practical reason for that. But, as you might have noticed, some things will sell for a much higher price simply because of the color they are. Why? To give you an example, if you go and you shop phone cases on Amazon, you'll come across one, you go, or let's say a camera or anything like that. You come across one, you say, wow, that's really nice. Oh, but look here. The one I was looking at is black, and it's for $10. But here's one for red. And the red one, wait a second, is $20 more. Okay, I'll take it. You see what I'm saying? The commercial world has learned that they can actually charge more for the exact same product based simply on its color. Does that not what can you learn from that? It blows your mind, doesn't it? But what can you learn from it? Well, feelings, emotions. That's why it's on my list. Because feelings, emotions are more powerful than intellect. It's the whole reason why human beings are prone, intensely prone, to things like cognitive dissonance, logical fallacies, confirmation bias. These are not things that come from critical thinking. These are things that come from what you feel. I think I told you that if I had to bet you $1 billion of somebody else's money, because I don't have $1 billion, obviously, but if I had to bet you $1 billion on why 90% of people vote their choice for president or whatever it is in your country, what it comes down to is feelings. How that person makes you feel. Not what they're saying, not their policies, not any of those things. That's what cognitive dissonance, that's what gives birth to cognitive dissonance. So for example, you say, well, that guy or girl, she's just so wonderful. I love her. She has my best interest in mind. She has everybody's best interest in mind. No way is she just looking out for herself, trying to enrich her own family or whatever. If this is how you feel about the candidate, and then you read something in the news or you hear something that contradicts what you feel about that person, if it contradicts it, you will either reject it out of hand and say, that's not true. It's not reputable, that report. or you'll come up with an explanation to perfectly explain in your mind, because it doesn't perfectly explain anything. But you'll come up with an explanation for why this story can happen and have no effect whatsoever on how great this person is. That is the cognitive dissonance thing. The new information does not cause you to reevaluate how great you think the person is. You will deny it. Your emotions will say that information doesn't matter, it's irrelevant, it's a lie. So, emotions, feelings, how they control us. How do you keep them in check? Well, we don't have control over our feelings, but we can be honest with ourselves. We can be emotionally and intellectually honest with ourselves. We can recognize when our emotions are steering us in a way, and we can counteract that teeter-totter. We can bring that sucker into balance by applying critical thought. Okay, I really do like this guy. I really do. Find him very charming. I really like the things he says, how he says them and everything like that. That's how I feel. Now, but I don't want to be just a slave to how I feel. I don't want to let my feelings dictate for me reality and override my critical thinking. So I know that I am, as a human being, prone to that. My feelings have that type of power over me if I don't keep it in check. Let's now put it into check. Let's try to distance ourselves from how we feel, apply critical thinking, analysis, and those sorts of things, and bring that teeter-totter more into balance. Can you do that? Can you do that? I can't do it all the time. I can do it 90% of the time. But the secret really is in how honest are you, right? There's some things that we have such an emotional attachment to that to betray or to contradict or to even take a step in a direction where we want to challenge it is testing. It's really testing. But what type of person are you? What is the quality of your character? The quality of your character will be determined by your willingness to do that at all times, just to make sure that you're not being controlled by your feelings, or that your feelings are making decisions for you or determining reality for you. Emotions, feelings, big one on my list.